right, guys, welcome back to Driving Life, the Motorsports Recap Show / TransAm update.
Yeah.
And I am your co-host, Owen Trinkler. To my right of me, Donovan Degelau. Donovan, we get into Music City Grand Prix again, but TransAm style this time.
Yeah. With our friend,
our
partner,
resident, our partner,
in-house,
Franklin Road Apparel.
Ken Twaits is with us today, which is always a great conversation. But we've been talking about this so much, and what it means to be from Nashville, be in Nashville, and then to be able to race in this, in that inaugural event. And Ken had a lot going on this weekend, and it's a great story. I'm looking forward to getting into, what his perception was of everything.
Yeah, huge event for him. He was super busy because Franklin Road Apparel did present the TransAm race, which helped to get CBS coverage. We talk about that with Ken and just talk about his move through the field. He went from 31st to 14th.
14th, I think. Yeah.
So great run for him. So we're going to get in that today. And
At Franklin Road Apparel, we love racing. We love driving cool cars. We love great style. Come get a taste of our style at franklinroad.com, and while you're at it, get your TransAm gear as well.
5, 4, 3. All right, guys, welcome back to the TransAm update on Driving Life. Our special guest, always for the TransAm update, Mr. Ken Twaits.
I don't know how special that is.
You are. I mean, you let us come play in your shop here.
Sandbox.
In my sandbox, the kitty litter here.
Yeah, at the bar. So, huge weekend. Dom and I discussed it last week on our recap show about the IndyCar race, but we waited really for the TransAm update.
Yeah.
We didn't really get into too much about the race for TransAm, but huge opportunity for TransAm.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm going to let you talk about it because you were obviously heavily involved in this race from driving and the sponsorship side.
Yeah, I didn't even let you guys know that. That's a pretty
I know.
good secret.
I know.
That's a pretty good secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, Franklin Road was a sponsor of the TA2 race at the Music City Grand Prix, and that all came together a few months ago. John Claggett, who's the president of TransAm, and I started talking about it, months ago. I said, hey, do you need a series sponsor or a race sponsor for that? And it's like, yeah, go away, little boy. I'll get back to you later, kind of thing. And the closer it got, the more real it got. And, it all came together before the Brainerd race last month. So, yeah, I mean, it worked out great. And when you really look at it from my perspective, I just can't help but try to make a business case for everything I do when it comes to racing or anything in general, really, for that matter. And, it's our demographic. It's, the men walking around and women, for that matter, walking around that race is our demographic. It brings awareness to this Franklin Road, our store in Franklin, Tennessee, in all Middle Tennessee, so it was just a win-win-win. I had a lot of irons in the fire for that race. And so it's kind of, it was funny that the TA2 race for me was kind of like third in line because we were selling T-shirts there, we had a Scott Borchetta TransAm by Pirelli T-shirt that we were selling there in the paddock. It's just kind of a test case, to see what the potential is, and we won't get into that now. But
I saw a few in the room back there.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of them. There's a lot left over. So hey, go online, franklinroad.com, and get yours.
We can wear them. We wear these on the show. So.
Yeah, it'll be discounted for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, the sponsorship deal really was fantastic, and as it turned out, a good call because what a race, what a weekend.
The weekend was amazing.
I'm still on a high from it. I'm just like, wow, blew it out of the park.
Yeah, I agree.
Just killed it. All the people there. And, most of the people I talked to coming through there had never been to a race before.
Really?
They weren't really race fans. They were just there for the scene.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh,
Wanted to know what this was all about.
Opportunity to bring more fans into our world, which is always, a challenge. The hardcore guys are going to show up. They've been showing up.
Yep.
But to get a whole new, brand of people coming through.
I had sat with the Abbotts, who we've had on the podcast with Jason Abbott, but they were all they're all relatively new to racing, and especially going to an event like that. And I think there was 8 or 10 of us that were all together, blown away by the whole weekend. I mean, we had a blast on Saturday. We had a blast on Sunday, just enjoying the atmosphere. The racing I thought was great. I really enjoyed the racing. I know there was some challenges with the IndyCar race and whatever, but overall, number one, Nashville knows how to throw a party, right?
Yeah.
So they know how to host an event. And I just thought everybody that I talked to was the same way. It was just really well done and really well put together for an inaugural event like that.
Yeah. I mean, I went all in. I had an RV pass, so I had an RV down there, close, where I just spend the night in the parking lot, get up and go right to the pit.
Oh, nice.
Had a suite, so we had a suite on the start-finish line, which was awesome. We had great client entertainment all weekend. They absolutely were knocked out by it. The food was great. The service was great. I mean, first-class deal. Yeah, Nashville knows how to throw a party. Scott Borchetta and his team, Justin Marks was involved as well, who we race with, just knocked it out of the park. I am so proud to, I had a small part in it, and I'm so proud to even have a little part of that. Gosh, I can't wait for next year. I really can't. It was just so much fun. And then then I got to race on top of it as a bonus. That's kind of how I look at it.
Well, and let's talk about that for a little bit here, because they literally unloaded the car at a car wash locally. You brought it back here to the shop.
Yeah.
Did a little bit of work, put it all together, then took it to the track. So you literally had 0 seat time in this car.
Yeah, it was a brand new car. After I had run the Laguna TA2 race, and I did that just as a warm-up because I hadn't run Laguna in 30 years, so I wanted to run the TA2 car in preparation for the TA race. And so I didn't really take it serious. I think I finished 17th or something. There's 35 cars in that race. So, I still thought, well, okay, good.
Yeah.
I didn't damage the car. I'm out.
Yeah.
But this weekend, it was like, after that weekend, I called Mike Cope and I says, hey, can you build me a car? And it's got to be ready for Nashville. Oh, yeah. We can get that done.
And we'll test it and do all this before the race.
No. He didn't promise that.
No, that's good. That's good. He didn't promise that.
He was a realist about it.
Okay, good.
But it was sort of like, yeah, we can do that. He hangs up the phone. I know he's like, oh, my God, how are we going to do that?
Right.
So, but hey, I got to tell you, that car unloaded. We coordinated with, okay, let's hook up with the truck driver, and they're going to stop at a truck wash before they bring it into the race. And so we just make sure you load my car last,
back,
pull it off the back, and that's what we did because, it was all wrapped and ready to go, but it was just plain gloss black, so it was a great canvas for us, and we literally already had all the graphics and everything done to match the TA car. So it's our little baby TA2 car now. So, it's recognizable. And that's my whole goal, is to make Franklin Road on the side of the car the car that we drive. It's always black and red. It's recognizable. That's the Thwaites car or whatever.
Yeah.
So we brought it back here and got it all stickered up, ready to go, and brought it into the track. And, that car, we had a slight problem in the first session, as any new car would. I didn't expect it to be, flawless. But, after we fixed the small problem, thing did run flawless after that. The driver was the one that really was behind the curve. And, yeah, I mean, there wasn't anything else to race, so I was completely focused on the TA2 race. And you know what? That field was stacked. There were some ringers in that field, boy.
Daniel Suarez was there. And,
Suarez.
Joey Hand.
Boris said,
yep.
Tony Ave. You know, it goes on and on and on. It's like, wow, these guys are heavy duty.
Adam Andretti was in there. I mean,
a lot of one-off guys came in just for this event, which was great.
Just shows you the draw for the event.
Yeah. And, you know, I had driven like you guys. I'd driven the track on the street, you know, my street car, trying to get an idea of what it's going to be like. But, you know, I had no idea. Once you get out there and really go, it was so much fun. The layout was really cool.
Yeah.
You know, and I know there's a lot of critics out there, especially the guys sitting at home on a couch, you know, are very critical about a lot of things. But you know what? I drove it. I was there. It was a lot of fun. It was extremely technical, very challenging. You know, I hit 152 at the end of the straightaway coming back into the complex where the pits were. And both high-speed braking areas were downhill right-hand corners, you know, so you're flying into that dude. You get a little wide in the marbles, it's all over, man. It's going to be a big wreck. So extremely challenging. Yep. And then tight technical stuff that only one car can fit through, the kind of thing, you know, if you try to pass there, you're just going to block the whole track, you know. So my hat's off to him, man. It was great. It was a lot of fun. It was hot.
Oh, yeah.
It was challenging as a driver to go the distance. It was.
Yeah, because we were talking on the phone the other day, and like somebody dropped out in the race just because of heat. We were chatting.
Several guys dropped out, and I looked at the results the other day. It's a 46-lap race. Yeah. There were guys dropping out on lap 15. I mean.
Yeah, I saw two that I know of for sure that were like, they just – the heat, I mean, like literally passed out behind the wheel.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No. And, you know, my guys were worried about me. I'm no spring chicken. And, you know, they're like, oh, I wonder how he's doing. But
I live here. You know how humid it could get.
I mean, well, I didn't have a helmet blower. You know, I forgot to add that onto the options list. Oops.
Yeah.
You know, and the drink thing wasn't working. You know, and if I did get a little drop out of there, it was about 3,000 degrees. And then I had a cool shirt on, and that helped.
But to talk about that system, I mean, we're going to get into the race, but the chill-out system, that's a new innovative system, which I've been promoting it for my guys to put in our Camaros. I mean, you like it a lot?
I like it. It's cool enough, and it's like a third of the weight. So there you go.
It's lighter,
You know, and you can plug and play. Take the box out, take it to your next race car, plug it in there if it's all set up for it, you know. So it's pretty trick. You know, you can set it at 35 degrees Fahrenheit or something, you know, and it feels great until you get going, and then it's like, oh, well, where's the 35 degrees? There's a little colder. How about the 25 degree one? I want that
Keep cranking it down.
But, it, you know, it works good, and the weight savings is, you know, you save 12 pounds, 15 pounds, something like that, quite a bit. So it worked good. If you had water, I think, you know, I could, you know, and I got out of the car. Honestly, I said, you know, I could go another half hour if I wanted to. I mean, I was pretty fresh. And so you know, I guess it just affects guys differently, you know, and mentally, you know, it took so long to get to the halfway point. It seemed like to me, it was a green flag race for almost halfway. You know, that's like 40 minutes.
That's a lot around that place. And focused.
100%. I drove that car 100% every lap, as fast as I could drive it. You know, there was no kicking back because I had a lot of ground to make.
Yeah, because you passed, I mean, a ton of cars from your starting position to where you finished.
Well, you know, we got, you know, in TransAm racing, and it's like this in TA, if you get behind at any point during the weekend, you're behind. You're going to get run over. You got tire treads on your back. And that's what happened to us in the first session. We didn't really get up to speed where everybody else was going. The second session, you know, all right, we got going. And then, but we didn't get going fast enough, and they split the qualifying into two groups, the fast group and the not so fast group. And I was in the not so fast group. And that only went 2 laps of qualifying before it was red flagged. So I qualified 31st, and I'm just like going, all right, a lot of guys would go, it's over. But I'm thinking, you know what, I'm just gonna, and it kind of became our theme, and it's just like see car, pass car. See car, okay, I passed him. Where's the next guy?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm passing him. And we did, we passed 17 cars, and then I got spun around and had to do it all over again. And
he got spun down in your section.
Yes, I was sitting right across from that.
There,
I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
I know it. I mean, I had made a great pass.
It was
and
awesome.
I was wide open, and all of a sudden, really? I mean, how'd that happen? And, and I talked to him after the race, and he's kind of holding his head going, oh, man, I'm so sorry. I really didn't mean to do that. It was
poor judgment, but it didn't do, I don't even think it left a mark on your car.
Yeah. It hit it pretty square.
Yeah. So from that standpoint, okay, it wasn't a big deal, but you went straight back to where you were at before.
Yeah. And it just started, and I think guys were getting fatigued. Brakes were getting soft. And, I was, Laguna for me, that's really hard on brakes.
Yep.
And I kind of learned at that track okay, we got to coast here. We got to get off the brake pedal and let the air do its job, so I have a brake pedal in the end. And I kind of was thinking along those lines as well, still driving as hard as I could. And you know what? We had brakes at the end of that race, and I just outbroke these guys. They're having to brake early, and their heads flopping in a car back at me. They're dying, and we just picked them off. And as it turned out, the Cinderella story would be, started 31st, came to the front and won the race. Well, that doesn't happen at TA2.
That field's super tough.
Yeah, it's really tough. Yeah. But I did, my age, I'm 64, I did win the Masters class. And there's some fast Masters,
Yeah.
And I beat all those guys. So now I got to make the podium.
Yeah.
I'm the local guy. And the crowd at the podium was massive, and they had a few beers. And I'll tell you
Nashville.
They were into it, man. We were like, yeah. It was awesome. I had
throwing hats.
Oh my gosh. It was so funny because, skiing won it, and I know Mike really well. Yeah. And Thomas Merrill I know really well. He finished second.
Yep.
And so I got up there and did my thing, and it got everybody. So I walk off stage, I look at it, got them warmed up for you boys.
There you go.
There you go. So overall, it just couldn't have played out any better. My guests in the suite were watching it because it's on TV too. Yep. And they were just, oh my God. All my family and friends and stuff are watching it, who watched the telecast a few hours later. Oh my God. That was because I guess we got a lot of airplay too. So, some things just work out. And it did. It was just fantastic. So, yeah, great race, great car. Mike Cope, thank you. He built a great car.
Oh, the car looks gorgeous. I love
pretty.
Yeah, because we were over here at the shop last week looking at it. It's so cool to see a brand spanking new car. Everything is so crisp and detailed, and it's just a cool car.
Yeah. And it just ran a street race.
Yeah,
and it's literally there's not a mark really on it.
No.
And it's pretty on the inside and even on the outside to run that race and come back and roll right in the shop and get a top 15 finish is really good.
And TA2 is the kind of class that if you lose your head, you're going to get wrecked, and either you're going to wreck somebody or you're going to get wrecked. The street is lined with cement K-rail.
Oh, yeah.
It's like for us to come home with barely a scratch on the thing. I'm thrilled. And, right now the car's on the transporter headed to Watkins Glen. We're testing, I fly in there tomorrow and we're testing up there. And so I get to press the TA2 car back into service right away. We'll run that car first, learn the track and get it down, and then hop in the TA car and see, if we can't make that go a little bit faster, and, mission accomplished. So
we talk about the race, and then you talk about the TV coverage. I mean, obviously Franklin Road Apparel, and we've talked on the phone about this. I think this was great for TransAm to kind of not saying it hasn't been on the map, but it got a national TV coverage at this race, which I think is awesome because this needs to be back on the map. And did you hear some of the competitors like, hey, we need to partner more with IndyCar, or we need to partner with somebody else that's got the coverage there that we can get through the weekend?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I'm one of the big proponents of that because, my sponsorship deal, I didn't realize this because I talked to Tony Perella after qualifying, and he says, it was your sponsorship that really kind of pushed us over the top to where we could get the CBS Sports time and get this thing on.
Yeah, and by the time there.
Yeah. And so I'm just like going, well, wait a second. If that's really all it took. Now, it wasn't an insignificant amount of money, but it's certainly something I think you could raise in the paddock amongst the higher, the more well-funded teams, both in TA as well as TA2. I think you can get it done. And so why aren't we doing that? It's going to take that. I just don't see the days of the McDonald's coming in and sponsoring the TransAm thing, writing a big check. Those days are over. It's such a different world out there. And, trying to do a social media live feed kind of thing, I just don't know that that's there yet, to where you're going to get the eyeballs looking at your race series. You still have to go to traditional TV. Yep. Sponsors want to see that.
Yep.
They want to see Nielsen ratings and that type of thing. So if we want to take it there, and it will generate more fans quickly, and we want more fans coming to the races, I just think you got to do that. And I think we can raise the money ourselves, at least at first anyway. Let's fund it ourselves.
Yeah.
What's the number? And let's go raise it. And
then look outside.
Yeah,
after you get some eyeballs and get some
smaller teams, I think that might not be like, for example, if you had to raise the entry fee somewhat, there'll be smaller teams that'll be tough on those guys. Right. But let's not go there right now. Let's see if we can raise the money ourselves first and let them come along for the ride, because having a full field of TA cars, that now we're talking back to the glory days. Yeah. TA2 is doing fine.
Right.
They don't need any more entries, unless they want to run 50 car races.
Yeah, they're in the 30s already.
Yeah,
so.
they're fine, and the races are fantastic. The guys running up front run clean and solid, and they race hard, but they race everybody clean. So great racing up there. They're fine, and they ought to be televised, in order a TA car is a different kind of animal. It's an expensive car to run.
Right.
It takes a very well-funded team to put that together. And in order to attract sponsors or somebody interested, again, you got to have that audience. So, we need to get our act together. And I'm still new to TransAm. So here I am,
Yeah, but I bring that up because in the heyday of TransAm, it was on network TV. And you heard, it was when Kendall was there and, Jack Baldwin was there. And
Dorsey.
It was the thing. Roush had a team.
Yeah.
It's like, it was a big deal. Even not that, I'd say, let's go back late 90s. And that's been a little while, I guess. But still, it's like the racing's really good, especially in TA2. And TA's growing.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's why I didn't know how the competitors felt. Like, wow, instead we don't have live stream. We're on CBS Sports now.
Yeah, it definitely changed.
Yeah.
The live streams have been good.
Yeah, they're good.
They're good, and they do a great job. But, it takes a while for somebody to figure out how to when, who, what, when is it on, that type of thing. Where, you could tape all this stuff. Have a season's pass. It'll tape it all on CBS Sports. So, and that's just me as a competitor talking. But I think, management, Perella, John Claggett, and that type of thing, they're friends of mine. And, even though I'm new, I came up through their system basically. And so they know I'm a supporter. I'm not going, there's the complainers and then there's the
you're not going anywhere. Yeah.
No, I'm a supporter. I want to make it better. And I think if you brought TV, I think you'd see TA fields much larger. Look at Road America when we partnered with NASCAR there. That field was pretty big.
It was big,
I think we had 17 TA cars. You get a 20-car TA field.
That's big.
That's
that's
some heavy iron moving around.
Yeah,
there.
because the money it costs to run those things and to get 20 of them, that's or close to 20. That's
now
really
we're
good.
talking.
Yeah.
12-car field, 10-car field. That's okay, but we need to do better. And there's such fantastic cars to drive. So exciting to drive. Just takes your breath away. And I'll tell you what, it takes you somebody watching these races, it just blows them away because they make a lot of noise, man. And they're
so raw.
Blow right past you. They're just, man.
And they look cool.
Oh, yeah. They got big fat tires.
Yeah.
They do everything.
The bodywork looks familiar and cool.
So,
it's a cool series.
Yeah.
It really is. And, I'd like it. I'm no spring chicken. I only have a few good years left in me. I keep telling my wife that, but next year will be the last one. I've been saying that for the last 5 years.
This is a new car. I got to keep driving it.
Yeah,
See, now you got another new car. You got the TA2 car.
Yeah.
It'd be a shame not to, go drive.
Yeah, right. So, it's a shame you can't drive both on the weekend. I mean, I'm a glutton for punishment, and schedules the way they are. It would be great to run a TA2 on a Saturday, a TA car on a Sunday, or vice versa, just so you can run both.
Yeah.
They're just so. I love driving. I love racing, and I don't have to tell you that.
Oh, I get it, man. Give me a car and I'll be in it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's like, I love it. So, so weekend was awesome. I mean, your involvement with it, and any word? I assume TA2 is coming back next year. We haven't talked to the guys at the Grand Prix, but my assumption is that's a home run that's coming back.
Well, I think as long as Scott's driving TA2,
it'll be there.
I think we'll be there. It was a great. How could you not be there? I really think of all the three.
You guys put on the best show. I think.
Absolutely, put on the best show, less carnage, best driving. I mean, I'm sorry, there was all. I was disappointed in the Indy cars only because I thought the drivers were better than that. And I think they are. They just there was so many bonehead, stupid passes that didn't clogged up the whole red flag the race. Really?
Yeah.
Come on, I couldn't believe that. And, you have an 80-lap race, and there was, 36 laps under caution.
Half of it was, caution.
Yeah. It was, it can be better. And I'm sure they'll make some changes for next year, make it a little wider for those guys, just so they don't have to drive as hard, I guess. I don't know. But
well, and you were in the race, and you guys did have a caution or two, and we talked about this last week. Don and I did. I've drove the course, but I didn't race it, which you did. That I thought maybe next year IndyCar would look at moving where they did the original start, which you guys did too, is moving everything to that start line. So the restarts will happen there, coming back across the bridge. Because to me, it seemed like what happened, guys are just trying to pass somebody as soon as the green comes out, and you got the 290s, the left-handers there, and guys are just trying to jockey for position. Yeah. And that got them caught in trouble. And
I don't know why they didn't do what we did, because they're throwing the green and all the restarts.
We're right there.
Where the bridge is that where the
I didn't know coming back towards us. They started the race
and
there.
did the restarts.
Yes.
For you guys. Well, okay, that's where I thought the IndyCar should move it to for next year.
Yeah, because it seemed like it looked like there was confusion on the track, because there was a couple, especially at the beginning of the race. It seemed like they didn't know where to restart, and that they had to come all the way back around that paddock area.
I was watching the IndyCar race, and the starter was throwing the green flag. There were no cars there.
Yeah.
They were all way back there, and so, they're all rushing to the 90 and, hitting each other. And, so anyway, I'm sure they'll make some improvements and changes, and saw what worked. They watched the Trans Am race, saw how to do it.
That's right. Go back to that. So let's,
all right, so we were talking about the restart zone, Ken, and just kind of go into explanation of that, what TA did.
Yeah, I mean, you had two long straightaways. One, you left the Titan Stadium parking lot area and went over the bridge, and there was a tight. I call it the redneck corkscrew, where you turn around, and come back, and that's where they threw the green. It was at the end of the straightaway coming back towards the pit complex, and that worked pretty well, unless you're starting 31st. And they're going green, green, green. It's like, well, wait a minute.
where were you?
I'm going about 30 miles an hour right now. I'm in the redneck corkscrew. So,
Yeah.
But the restarts happen there as well. And so, it worked great because at the end of that straightaway, it's really wide and funnels down. So guys have time to kind of sort it all out, and they can figure out,
Yeah, I thought that worked really well. I was surprised there wasn't more carnage there, but it seemed like everybody understood what was happening.
Yeah.
And
then by the time you got to start finish, it's strung out.
Yeah.
It's pretty much sorted itself out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it just seemed like it worked way better. The IndyCar, it looked confusing. It looked like they were confused by it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised. And, you had the SRO race, and, those are super cool cars. And man, those super cool cars really pounded the cement walls. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Elias Sabo hit that wall and moved 2 K rails. They're 9,000 pounds apiece. He moved that thing, both those things, 3 feet.
Oh yeah.
And just
that was right across from us as well.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
That car is, close to 700.
Now, how did he lose it? Because because we were sitting right there in that corner. So when you come down in that braking zone, you've got that kind of right hand bend that you kind of hug up against the wall. I don't know if he hit the wall and it just shot him straight across the track.
He pancaked that thing. I don't know. I think he came
unless
in
he had
there
some sort of failure, like a brake failure or something, because he spun and just hit that wall.
Well, Cody was working.
Cody was working on that car.
Yeah. My guy's working on it, and he said they had a problem with the traction control. But
that's right, he did say that. Yeah,
but
at that point you're on the brakes right there.
Yeah, I mean the traction control
hard.
Yeah,
on those cars are for performance, for accelerating, not
slowing down.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened, but boy, did he hit that thing.
He did hit it hard.
That car. I've never seen a car that twisted, that expensive, that twisted.
Yeah, and those are nice. That's the GT2 Audi that he was in. Because I've driven one of those at one point.
Super cool car. Yeah. I drove one last year as well. It's like it's really cool cars. So anyway, I mean, I think the fans like to see those kind of cars. Lambos and Ferraris and the Mercedes GT3 cars and stuff, the AMGs. So yeah, I mean, they got a lot of track time too. They had 2 races, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. We're sitting there going, take a little lesson from us boys. You know?
Yeah. No cautions, or hardly any cautions in a 100-mile race.
Yeah, right. I mean, so anyway, I think it had a lot of variety and a lot of different things for the fans to see. There was a lot of fans walking through there.
There were
especially
a ton.
The pits.
Yeah.
So
for the whole weekend, I mean, it wasn't like, even on Saturday night when you got towards the end of the evening or whatever, it was still packed down there because I stayed until the very end, and tons of people still there.
How many races you go to where after the day of racing's over, now you got a stage full
of great acts.
And the party continues, man.
Yeah. Well, and then I saw people as I was leaving. People are walking in specifically just to go to the concert or whatever they had going on.
Yeah.
On both nights.
Yeah, the footbridge just kind of dumps into the stage area, so come over from Broadway, and then you stagger back and go back to Broadway
for the late night.
I mean, it was, again, the design was very clever.
I think so too.
I really think, you can just widen it in a few spots to take away the little trouble areas, and yes, it was rough. It's a street race, and, it all plays, just deal with it. That's what made it so hard and complex and fun to do if you were successful. You can complain about it if you were picking.
Well, I think the only real concern that I heard, from the IndyCar side of it was that, coming over the bridge was so rough and so fast that it was like rattling your brain. You just couldn't focus. There was nothing to focus on.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to hit those brake zones, and they were massive. I mean, you're just hauling the mail off of both ends of that bridge, which was really cool. It made for a great spectator event.
Yeah.
But that was really the only thing that I heard in any kind of interview where they were, as far as it being rough, that was the only thing that I heard.
Well, and the last last 25% of the IndyCar race was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was.
Once they
got in
finally
the groove.
figured it all
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
it was really good. So, the potential's there. It was a home run, tip of the hat to Big Machine and that group that really put it together and really tried for a decade to get that done. They finally pulled it off.
Yeah.
And I knew it'd be a hit. I mean, coming here, and it's going to be the Long Beach of the East Coast. It's here to stay.
I think
for sure.
so too.
And so now you guys go from street race to one of the grippiest places on the circuit, and high speed still, but super smooth.
Yeah,
going to the Glen.
Yep.
So I know you're going up there to test, but TA that's the next one coming up for the schedule here.
Yeah, and it's a double header. So
You'd be there back to back, right?
Yeah, what that means is they combine TA2, TA, and all the
so
GT
a combined
classes.
race. Okay.
Yeah,
For one race is that
both
way.
of them.
Both of them are that way.
Both races
okay.
on
Wow.
Saturday and then on Sunday, and we combine the classes at Brainerd as well. So it's not that big a deal, really.
Okay.
There's a lot of guys to work through if you're coming through them, lapping them, but our cars are fast enough. The TA cars are fast enough to stay out of their way. We kind of take off and let them have their own race, and I think there's about a 3 to 4 second a lap difference between the two cars, so there's plenty of speed there.
Separation.
Yeah, and I've never raced at Watkins Glen. I've only been there one time, passing through kind of thing. So I've never even been on the track. I feel like I know it like the back of my hand because I've watched a lot of YouTube.
It's a cool track.
You've been there.
Yeah.
We just raced there not that long ago. It's a cool track with the history, kind of like Road America in a way. The town, had the race through the streets, and then they obviously got a permanent racetrack at some point. But it's got grip and super smooth from what you just came from, using the street course. But
I think it's one of those tracks, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this because I've never driven it, but it's a flow track. I mean, it's not quite as technical as what you would see from a more modern, like a Coda, which I think makes for great racing.
Yeah. The S's in GT cars are flat out. Well, they're not flat in a TA car.
You're going to be a little bit of a lift, but you're going to try to make it as flat as you can for sure. But it's going to be
fast.
It
won't be full lift.
No.
Yeah.
It's going to be, it'll get your hair on fire a little bit.
I'm watching Dreesy and Dyson 2 years ago there, and it's 182 going into the bus stop.
Yeah.
So that's hauling the mail
Yes,
there.
it is.
And the bus stop's like 120.
Yeah, it's like down 2 gears and keep going.
Yeah, it's
Back to the
like, wow.
gas.
So I can't wait for that. I really like high speed circuits. For some reason it doesn't. Speed's just a number as far as people always, how fast are you going? I go, well, I don't know. Let me look at the computer because I'm not looking at that. I'm looking down the road. But our car really likes high speed stuff. Brainerd, it really, I think we're the quickest car through all that stuff. It's just, that's why we're testing. We want to get the lower speed grip there. All we've ever done is we've gone racing. We never really had the luxury of trying different things to see if we can't make the car better and what do those changes do. And we're actually going to the wind tunnel over in Charlotte at the end of August because we can run dive planes on our car but you just don't stick them on.
Yeah. Where are you going to place them in the angle and everything?
And, we have a new Burton rear wing on the car, and we really want to see how much downforce that rear wing is making at what angle. So then we really know, we can quantify with the shock pot potentiometers how much downforce we're actually making. It'll tell you, how much you're making. So, when it comes to making adjustments, we'll know rather than just be guessing.
No, that's definitely, there's a lot to learn when you go to those places, the wind tunnel, and you're going to enjoy the Glen for sure. It's one of my favorite places to go to, and it's going to be an exciting race because that's coming up, in 3 weeks now, the race will be there.
Yeah, it's the weekend after Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my wife, like you, my wife and I are going to make a little RV trip of it.
Oh, yeah.
Take our time and go up there. And
it's awesome up there. I love that part of the country.
Check out Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
I've never been there. And, so, yeah.
Well, the GPS will tell you to go up 65 and up through Ohio. We went up the other way because we dropped our oldest off at camp, and we went up 81
Through
which
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's where I went, but I loved it. The drive was beautiful. Like it, I mean, the GPS is going to say that's like 3 hours more, but that was worth it. I came home because I was trying to get home quicker. I came down through Ohio
which is
on the way
what I
back.
did. Well,
but on the way there, I took my time.
Yeah.
when I left Watkins, I went and
You've
caught
driven
your
there.
TransAm race the next day in Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Donovan will tell you, because he drives everywhere. So.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that'll be beautiful, and they got great. The RV spots there for the drivers is awesome. Pavement, full hookups, the whole deal. It's
Not in the grass.
Not in the grass. So it's great. It's
Yeah.
it's really good. They've done a really good job with that track. So
Good. I can't wait.
you're going to enjoy it. So Ken, thanks for joining us though on the Franklin Road Apparel Trans Am update, and we look forward to chatting about the Glen because I think that's going to be interesting with 2 races there.
Yeah.
Combined classes still. I mean, it's a fast place, but it's going to be an exciting race, and we'll catch up with you after you do that race here in a few weeks.
I mean, we're 4th in points right now. Our first year in
Nice.
TA, and you got 2 back-to-back. So it's really important to finish that first one, and then really important
To be able to make the second one.
Yeah, you gotta get those 2 in.
Because that's a Saturday, Sunday back-to-back,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Well, then
So-
there's not much time because you got VIR like 2 weeks later.
2 weeks
Yeah.
later, you got to
Yeah.
flip that car around after
Another high speed track.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so they're kind of getting the meat of your schedule right now. So
Yeah. So hopefully we'll still be in 4th when we walk away from there.
or third.
Or better.
You never know.
That's right, yeah.
That's right.
You never know.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm thinking podiums. It's time to get on that podium.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Come on.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for joining us again, and we'll talk after the Glen.
You got it.
Thanks.
As we are back, and what a way to wrap up the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, Donovan, to hear Ken's side of everything and how the weekend went for him. He's a hometown guy now. I know he's transplanted here, but
And he
he's
kind of
been here for a while.
held out on us a little bit about the sponsorship there at the end. I wasn't aware of that.
I may have been aware of it, and maybe I just forgot to tell you. Maybe I'm not sure. But
Well, I know they did the commercial, and so
Yeah, I knew that was going on.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I kind of knew some of it. Yeah, that they had a commercial that aired during the broadcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, another guy. I mean, we talked about Scott Borchetta's role in TA2 and his role in the Grand Prix with Big Machine, but give it to Ken stepping up to the plate for TA2 at the same time, and Franklin Road Apparel, presents the Trans Am race at his hometown Grand Prix. So really 2 local guys, enjoying their racing here in their hometown.
willing to pony up the money.
Well,
to make
their
this thing
companies,
happen.
and putting Trans Am, and we've talked about this, and I talked about it with Ken, that put Trans Am back on the map.
Yeah.
Because that's fallen off a little bit, but it's super competitive.
Oh, yeah.
And,
the cars are great. They look great. They're fast. They're competitive.
they sound good. Even the TA2 car sounds good. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing like the Ground Pounders TA car, but the TA2 cars, the baby
They
version
still sound
of that,
good.
It still sounds really good.
Yeah.
And so I think they'll be on the ticket next year for sure. They'll be a part of that weekend. Hands down, it's a big part of the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix for years to come. It was a cool weekend. So, Diamond, anything else as we kind of...
No, I'm pretty good. It was so cool, especially our association with Ken and, Franklin Road Apparel and Showtime Motorsports here hanging out. And I know you were there on Sunday, so you got to at least see a little bit of, the race and what was happening there in Nashville. But God, it's so much fun to talk about it with people that are local and have a vested interest and we're able to race and, do all this kind of stuff. So that was cool. I'm glad we had that opportunity with Ken today to go back and talk about that.
Yeah, that's why we're a week late doing the Trans Am update, but we wanted to get with him and, talk to, he was in the race and, we wanted to get his, what he experienced through the weekend, and obviously was a part of it. So, and you got to go down there and, be a part of it with him on Saturday and Sunday. Yep. So that was cool. So it's an event that the city needs to look forward to each and every year, and it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger.
The people that I talked to, that I saw, and I was walking around and just running into people randomly, right? And they're like, I didn't know you were a race fan. They're like, it's here in town. We just thought we'd come check it out. And every single one of them that I spoke to afterwards were like, we're definitely going back next year.
Yeah.
So it was a giant home run.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that kind of wraps it up for us this week. Check us out. All our socials, Instagram, go like the YouTube channel. That's growing. We did a track lap of Nashville. So we talk about the Big Machine Grand Prix. We go into some detail on that. I mean, it doesn't get old. You can kind of get our feeling on what we thought about how the race was going to go, and we'll do that again next year as they're building the course. If they make any changes, we'll go talk about that for sure. But check us out all over the place on social media, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.